Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to The Big Issue, your platform for incisive analysis and riveting conversation. This is your election bureau. As the year wraps up, some other things are failing to wrap up. Example is the Electoral Commission's collation, or is it the recollation of some disputed constituencies. In those constituencies, there were officials of the EC that pronounced or declared certain candidates winners. The EC itself came out to say that those declarations were illegal and so they were void. The declarations were improper, and so the declarations or the collations that led to the declarations will have to be done again. That has raised a lot of issues, causing consternation across the length and breadth of the country. The NDC says it's not going to have any of that, especially as three of its winners or its candidates that won constituencies in Akwetia, Suhum, and Fantiakwa North were toppled by the EC based on the recollated results. The NDC ran to court, but it does appear that the EC wants to continue. The EC has served notice calling for improved security for the National Recollation Center at the Police Training College at Tesano. Once that security improvement is garnered, the EC will continue. We have indications that that may resume today. The NDC says it will not have any of that. What is the real state of affairs? Is the EC's decision to go ahead with the recollation the right way? Mind you, security analyst Kwesienin has said that given the tensions rising, it is proper for the EC to halt all processes, let tensions calm down, then they can continue. He seems to think that the argument that January 7 will have some or may not have some constituencies represented in Parliament is not a good way to go. He thinks that it doesn't matter. After all, Sal has been without an MP for 4 years, and it will not be the first time that a constituency will not be without an MP on Inauguration Day. Others disagree with him. What do you think? Should the EC continue doing what it is doing, or they should resort to court? What really is the place of court? What does the CI 127, which is the governing regulations around matters like this, say? We'll delve into all of that today. Also, the NDC, or the President-elect, John Dramani Mahama, this week announced a preparatory team for his Operation Oral. The Oral is Operation Recover All Loot, major plank of his campaign in terms of anti-corruption. He says that all those who have plundered state funds will have to produce that money, or he will cause those monies to be recovered for the state, and not just money, assets. To kickstart that, he has inaugurated, or he has announced or unveiled, a 5-member team or committee led by the Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa. Other members of the committee include former Auditor General Daniel Domalevo, COP retired Nathaniel Kofi Boache, private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, and investigative journalist Raymond Acha. What is their mandate? Are they clothed with the relevant law to do what they are supposed to be doing? What really are they supposed to be doing? What is their terms of reference? We will look at all of that today. And do you support that? Corruption is a major issue in the country. So does it mean that any attempt to fight corruption must or should be supported? I want to know what you think. If there is time, we will also look at what is happening in Parliament, the presentation of the mini budget to take care of the first quarter of the year before the new government sits properly is becoming an issue. Parliament is adjourned to 2nd of January. That has still not been done. The hope is that on that day, the mini budget will be laid. What are the implications really? We'll look at all of that today. My name is Selom Adunu. The show, as always, is live and interactive. You can join us via our WhatsApp line 02044470033 or 0549-986-996. We are live here on Channel One Television. We're also live on City 97.3 FM and on all our socials. We will be happy to hear from you. Call a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that a big issue is airborne. I'll be right back with more. Don't go away. You're welcome back. This is The Big Issue. My name is Selom Adunu. Two key issues on our plate. Election 2024, EC declaring some seats, declaration of some parliamentary results illegal. And the NDC says it will not have any of that. A lot of issues arising. The EC is accusing the Election Security Task Force for not providing adequate security at its National Collation Center at Tesano, blaming it for all the chaos we've seen. They say that once security is beefed up, they will continue the collation exercise. The NDC has gone to court. We'll find out from the EC whether indeed they've been served and what that means for them. We heard that the EC will continue the recollation exercise. What does that mean for the process? We'll also look at the oral preparation team. The oral is the Operation Recover All Loot, one of President-elect John Maham's key promises around corruption. He says that should Ghanaians give him the mandate, he will do well to recover what he calls the loot that some members of the previous administration have taken from the state. Now that he is won, he has set up a preparatory team led by the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa with membership of 4 others to start work on this. What is the mandate of the committee? The committee has been speaking. They say that their job is just to collate or to gather evidence from the public, and in due course they will submit that to the appropriate agencies. Others have said that this amounts to duplication of the roles of state institutions. So why can't the people who have information take those information directly to the state institutions like OSP, the CID, even the YOCO, etc., SHRAD, amongst others? We'll look at what arguments there are. Also, Parliament failed to pass the mini budget after they were recalled or after they came back earlier on Monday. We hear a lot of things accounting for their inability to do so. The minority suspects foul play. They fear sabotage. But majority says when they come back early next year, they will do it before this parliament concludes. We will see about that. But just to provide you some quick update before we zoom into the discussion, Ghana's 2024 general elections may have concluded with results of the presidential race and most parliamentary seats, but the nation's political landscape remains tense as the results of some parliamentary constituencies remain under contention. Both the New Patriotic Party and the NDC are disputing these outcomes, leaving the final preparatory composition, parliamentary composition uncertain. In the meantime, the High Court has directed the Electoral Commission to recollate and announce the results for Ablekuma North and in Sawam-Edwardri constituencies, overturning the previously declared outcomes. The ruling comes after 6 MPP parliamentary candidates filed a judicial review petition. They argued for an order compelling the EC to recollate the election results and also sought police protection for the collation process to ensure the EC's constitutional duties are carried out without interference. The petitioners who contested in the constituencies including Tama Central, in Sawam-Edwardri, Okakwe Central, Techiman South, Ablekuma North, and Hafanon North, cited irregularities in the results collation process and subsequent announcements. The National Democratic Congress attempted to join the case, filing a motion for joinder. However, the court presided over by Justice Joseph Edu Owusu-Agyemang dismissed the motion, stating that the NDC lacked sufficient grounds to be included. Delivering the ruling on Friday, 20th December, Justice Edu Owusu-Agyemang ordered the EC to recollate the results for Ablekuma North and in Sawam-Edwardri, rejecting objections raised by NDC lawyers led by Godwin Eduji Tamaklo. Now, the Election Security Task Force is deploying military personnel to assist the police in managing collation centers. The Electoral Commission prepares to resume the collation of results for outstanding constituencies from the December 7 general elections. This decision follows accusations from the EC that the task force failed to provide adequate security, which led to the suspension of the collation process. Charles Owusu-Kumi reports on a press conference held by the Election Security Task Force.
On Thursday, December 19, the Electoral Commission held a press conference where it accused the National Election Security Task Force of failing to provide security, for which reason the Electoral Commission could not resume the collation of election results for outstanding constituencies from the December 7 elections. Now, subsequently, a meeting was held between the Electoral Commission and the National Election Security Task Force where the Commission received assurances that adequate security would be provided, including the deployment of military personnel at the collation centers.
The task force assured the Electoral Commission of its readiness to provide the needed security for the outstanding collations. In addition, the Commission reminded the task force that during the collation, only individuals accredited by the commission should be allowed access to the collation centers. In this regard, there will be a joint police and military deployment for the exercise.
Now, political actors and political parties have also been encouraged to stop urging their supporters to amass at the coalition centers.
We wish to caution the public that non-accredited persons will not be permitted at the centers. Also, the task force would like to urge the political parties to refrain from inciting their supporters to mass up at the collation centers to disrupt the process. We wish to state that throughout the election period, including this post-election phase, the National Election Security Task Force has put Ghana first. We have put the peace and security of the country first, and we will continue to do so.
All right, so that was the press conference held by the police, the National Election Security Task Force, led by the police, really. And they have pledged to provide adequate security for the EC to conclude its job. Now, my guests for this segment of the program this morning are the Honorable Edwin Nilante Vanderpoel, a Member of Parliament for Ododododio, outgoing Member of Parliament for Ododododio. Now he has a replacement. Alexander Aban, former MP, Gomoa West. Fred Tete, who is Deputy Director, Research at the Electoral Commission. And of course, Franklin Kujo, President of Imani Africa. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program. Let me go straight to Zoom and speak to the Electoral Commission, Fred Tete. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program. This should be one of the very difficult moments for you, given that you've concluded the elections, but the number of constituencies are outstanding in terms of the parliamentary results declaration. How difficult has this moment been for the EC?
Thank you, Salam, and good morning to everyone.
I said, you may want to unmute so we can hear you. All right, Mr. Tete, we can't seem to hear you. If you can maybe speak up so we can hear you. Mr. Fred Tete is the Deputy Director of Research at the Electoral Commission, and he will be helping us appreciate the EC's position on the matters raised and when indeed you'll be starting the recollation. Yes, Mr. Tete. Hello.
Hello, Salam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. All right, I can hear you now. So, yes.
Yes, I was saying thank you for having me, and I'd like to greet the other members of the panel. Yes, this time has been a difficult time for us, and I think looking back, this is the first time we've been having this kind of issues where a number of parliamentary results have not been declared, whereas the presidency has been fully completed. So it raises a lot of issues that is quite tough on our part.
I see. But the question is, how did we get here? Is it that the EC, because you have pink sheets, as we call them, what happened? Because the EC should have its pink sheets, and ordinarily the pink sheet the EC has should be the same as what the other parties have, because it's just a duplication, or how do you even call it? It's the carbonated copy or the carbon copy that the parties have, so it should be the same. So if the EC has one pink sheet and the same is duplicated for the others, why should it be a difficulty putting these numbers together? It's just a matter of simple addition. Why was it so difficult to get that done?
Yeah, Salam, like you said, that should be the normal thing. And over the years, we go through the process smoothly without having those kind of issues. But when you look at what has happened and what was happening in specifically those 12 constituencies, it's just an issue of lawlessness, rampaging, besieging, and it's like preventing our people to actually go on with their work. Supporters, candidates, and what have you came in to disrupt the process. And that is what has led to the situation.
So what are these 12 constituencies? Of course, we know about Ablekuma North, Nsamedu Ejiri. We know about Techiman South, Hafano North, Tema Central, Okankwe Central. Which other ones do we have?
Well, out of the 12, 3 has been cleared. If you are aware, last week, we're able to do in Sihum, we're able to do Sihum, we're able to do Apetia, we're able to do Pantia Pano. Okay. Those that you mentioned are part of the 9 that we are here to work on.
Great. So I want you to take us through specific details, though briefly, for each of these outstanding. I know for Nsamedu Ejiri, and correct me if I'm wrong, that no official declaration has been made for which you're seeking to, overturn same. Is that correct? And why haven't you been able to make the declaration? Is it because of the same reasons of lawlessness that you stated? Has declaration been made for that part? Of course, we'll talk about the legalities later, but was a declaration made for Nsamedu Ejiri at all?
I would like us to go back to what we mean by declaration. In the context of declaration, whether the declaration was actually legal or not.
Yeah, I get that distinction, but I just want to understand whether a winner was announced at all, whether legally or illegally. In Nsamedu Ejiri.
Well, in some cases, like the case of Nsamedu Ejiri, just like the case of Tema Central, and when I'm talking on this issue, I usually like to take the case of Tema Central as a classical example. Why? Because for Tema Central, the issues that went on in Tema Central on the day when actually reflects what happened in other places. In Tema Central, you're talking about the key issues that happened was rampaging, besieging, and then causing havoc, disrupting the process. 2, there were issues of assault. 3, there were issues of where the total number of polling stations that makes up the Tema Central constituencies were not tabulated together. Again, there were also issue of the rightful person, in other words, the returning officer or the deputy, any of the deputy returning officers appointed and issued with wreath was not a person who declared the results. So basically in Tema Central, the 4 issues that are enumerated, you can find 1 or 2 in other places. For a place like Okankwe Central, it relates to the total number of polling stations not included in the alleged declaration. In some places, persons who were not supposed to be the returning officers were brought in to come and do the declaration. So those are the issues. So specifically, we can see the issues in all those 9 constituencies running through the case of Tema Central.
I see. So in the case of Tema Central, there was assault, you say, there was rampaging, causing havoc, etc., and that the total number of polling stations were not tabulated, and that the rightful persons were not those who made a declaration, the so-called declaration.
Exactly.
But so how many polling stations for Tema Central, for example, are outstanding?
In Tema Central, they have 2 polling stations outstanding.
Out of how many?
They have 2 polling stations. I don't have the...
You don't have the... Okay, that's fine. But so does it mean that when you normally, like your boss, Jim Mensah, did for the presidential, she announced the results, even though some 9 constituencies were not ready. And the point was that she said even if you added every voter in that constituency to the numbers of the second, Dr. Baumia, the numbers will not be enough to overturn the result, for which reason she went ahead and declared it. When we look at Tema Central, would you say that, or would you say that the 2 polling stations left would have a telling effect, or could have a telling effect on the results as declared or allegedly declared by the EC official?
Okay, Salam, let me take this opportunity to educate the public in terms of the kind of electoral system that we run and the formulas that we use in running our electoral system when it comes to parliamentary.
Great.
We use what we call the first past the post system. And in first past the post system, unlike where you have the PR system, the first past the post system ensures that 1 vote can make a difference. If you could recall, in 2012, in Tema East, a member of parliament won the elections by just 3 votes. So in first past the polls, you can have 1 person, a candidate, winning just by 1 vote. And therefore, when it comes to this formula or this system, electoral system, what you do is that all polling stations are factored in the tabulation process to make sure that you don't leave anything out. So, in the case of Tema Central, the total number of polling stations for the constituency that makes up the constituency were being tabulated. 2 were left, and then the disruption occurred.
Okay.
Now, what is needed to be done is for those 2 polling stations' results to be included before the returning officer can complete the summary of result sheets, declare the winner.
Very well.
That is the point where we are.
Great.
For Tema Central.
Let me just interrogate that. So, given that we have difficulties, you say rampaging, havoc, causing havoc, besieging the place, assault, and all of that. These are serious matters. And if there are just 2 polling stations left, you say it's first past the post. That's great. That's understandable. But if, let's say, candidate A has 1,000 votes, counted or tabulated, candidate B has 100, a difference of 900, and the 2 polling stations left together will give you 50. If you added the 50 to the 100 of the second person, there's no way 150 could be greater than maybe 1,000 votes. So in that case, even though there are 2 polling stations outstanding, you can still go ahead, given the security concerns, and make the declaration, because under no circumstance would the 2 polling stations, even if everybody voted for 1 person, even though that's statistically impossible, that person will never win. So that's why I'm interested in finding out what the results or the numbers were, and what the numbers are in those 2 polling stations outstanding, so that we make a determination whether the 2 outstanding polling stations can overturn the results as announced allegedly by the EC official. Right.
Thank you very much. I think you pointed you were able to put some of the kind of issues in the rightful context. Now, when you look at it carefully, in the case of Tema West, Tema Central, what you're talking about is not the case. Okay. We could have situations where it's like that. Statistically, there is no way candidate B can overtake or could overturn the results, even if all the registered voters in that particular, those polling stations are added to that of candidate B. Yes. But in Tema Central, from our investigation, from what we've seen, from the pink sheets that we've seen, of the 2 outstanding polling stations, if they are included, the results will overturn.
Okay. So that is the issue.
That is the issue. Okay. And then let me go back to another thing. Salom, you could also remember in 2013, 2012 election petition.
Okay. So but before that, so are you saying that as a matter of fact, or you are saying that hypothetically, that given the results now, if you added results from the 2 polling stations, the result will be overturned or will overturn. Are you saying that as a matter of fact, or you are saying that hypothetically, just to be sure?
It's a matter of fact.
Okay,
it's not hypothetical.
Okay, so it means that the declaration, the NDC candidate, Ebi Bright, who was announced allegedly as a winner, will not be the winner if the 2 polling stations are added to the tabulations you have.
If the process terminates as it's supposed to be.
I see. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And I was making a point on the issue of the election petition in 2012. 2013 ruling by the Supreme Court was that in situation where presiding officer failed to what? Sign the pink sheet. The fact that there are valid votes counted at the polling stations and recorded on the statement of poll and declaration sheet, what we call the pink sheets, does not invalidate the results captured on it. You are aware of that Supreme Court ruling by Justice Atubuga. Right. So you see, we have situation, and I think I forgot to add as one of the issues in Tema Central. Okay, so when you look at it carefully, we also have situations where pink sheet has not been endorsed by the presiding officer in some of those constituencies. Supreme Court has ruled it is a law. You see, I will not say that somebody benefited in 2012 relating to that rules. If somebody, my issue is, it is a law. Whether somebody benefited or didn't, the question is, the issue is, it is a law from Supreme Court. Right. So
let me be clear. Let me be clear. So let me be clear. So these 2 outstanding polling stations, are you saying that some of them or one of them did not have the presiding officer sign?
No. When I was talking, you see, I was about to make that statement, and you said you want to, right. So I want to come back to that issue, that in addition to the 4 categories of incidents that happened in Tema, this is the 5th thing that also happened. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And when we take it one by one in many of the other constituencies that are left, you will find a constituency where some of the pink sheets or some of the polling station results were not included in the collation because someone is protesting against the fact that a presiding officer has not signed the pink sheet. But that person has forgotten that in 2013, the Supreme Court ruled that the fact that a presiding officer has not signed a pink sheet doesn't invalidate. As part of the 24 categories of breaches that the MPP presented in 2013. Okay, so basically these are the issues, right?
I see. I see. How about?
And then yesterday, I think on your program in the evening, I was explaining something that happened in one of the constituencies, and Sandra was asking me a question as to which constituency in particular. There were also a situation where a returning officer or deputy returning officer was influenced at gunpoint. Was influenced at gunpoint to raise the hand of a candidate without making declaration with figures that person has won. Gunpoint in Techiman South.
Techiman South.
Exactly.
I see. But where were the security people? Where was the police and the other security people when this was happening?
Now we come back home to the issues that the chairperson raised. All that, and if we could get it today at the task force at their press conference, all that the Electoral Commission wanted to bring these issues to a decision is security. If we get enough adequate security, we can finish this thing in a day or two.
I see. How about Okankwe Central? This is where we are actually. How about Okankwe Central? Patrick Boame's constituency, Patrick Boame versus Baba Sadiq. Baba Sadiq, we understand, was announced the winner, and you say that that declaration was illegal. What's the specific issue with that one too?
You see, when you read Regulation 43 of the chronology of processes or series of activities that must be done to ensure that the rightful thing is done. Okay? So, like I made mention of, in the case of Okankwe Central, I'm not sure whether 31 or 32 polling stations that were left out. Just like the case that I mentioned, that yes, in some places, you don't have the total number of polling stations factored into the tabulation process. In Okankwe Central, those 32 or 31 polling stations relate to the issue of someone resisting or rejecting the inclusion of those polling stations because someone has not signed. Okay, right. And you see, the law says that the polling station results will be presented to the returning officer. The returning officer will tabulate or sum all of them together and then complete the summary of results for the constituency. Declares the winner, and then it continues. The returning officer will complete the writ of election. This writ of elections are legal document that we issue to the returning officers prior to the conduct of elections. So it is at the back of this writ that the returning officer or his deputy, in case the returning officer is in the schools, okay, the returning officer will complete the results on the writ, present it to the commission will gazette the results. After the gazetting of the results, within 21 days after the gazetting, date of gazetting, within 21 days, candidates or whoever, agent, whoever has an issue can petition the court. So, and presentation of the petition, you can find it in section 18. Section 18, subsection 1 of Law 284. Why are people not allowing us to have the process terminate?
All right, I see. Let me interrogate the Okankwe Central a bit. What we heard was that the pink sheets presented by the presiding officer were totally different from what the NDC had, and even some of what the MPP had. We also heard that the pink sheets submitted by the EC had the same handwriting throughout, which is difficult to take because these are different people in about 31 polling stations. All of them cannot have the same handwriting. So that obviously raises some issues, prima facie. So based on that, we understand there was confusion and they could not resolve it, and the officer went ahead and made a declaration. I don't know about the truthfulness of those facts. So I'm asking you, is it a case, or has it come to your notice also? I mean, in terms of what I've just said, have you checked to be sure that indeed the handwritings, as has been alleged, are not the same? And are you sure that the pink sheets, as presented by the EC, or as produced by the EC, the returning officer, are the same as that of the NDC and MPP? Just clarify that for us.
Yes, I would like to find out. But what I know and what happens is that our pink sheets are customized per polling station, and we don't issue more than one pink sheet to a polling station. We don't issue more than one pink sheet to a polling station. So what you're saying is a big surprise to me.
Yes, but
which I have to find out.
We saw in this election, I mean, fake ballot papers the same way they were in the proper ones. We saw them all over the place. So, and we are in a technological world. You may think that you just printed one, but somebody could clone it, somebody could print another one. You printed them off, after all, in printing houses. And you trust them, yes, but people can do things. People can print them and get them ready for anything. So this is the allegation, and that's what we expect the EC to find out. That they say yours are very different from what the two parties have. I thought that by now you should have looked at that, unless of course it hasn't come to your attention, so that based on the conclusions you reach, that we make progress.
Sure. Since for me it has not come to my attention, so like you said, I'll find out.
I see. Then great. So I think the other point too is that we, by the dictates of Article 99(1), etc., you've alluded to that somewhat, but just for clarification purposes, a certain declaration was made. You say those declarations were illegal. I'm not sure if you are clothed with the powers to determine whether something was done under duress or not, because that may involve taking evidence. And I'm not sure the EC has what it takes to take evidence from parties. So once a certain announcement has been made by the person there, I don't know whether the person had the power or not, is the court not the appropriate place per Article 99 to go and adjudicate that matter? Can the EC upon its own, can it sit in its office and say this was illegal and so void because of duress, etc.? You have to listen to both parties. And I'm not sure if you are clothed with the powers to do that. Are you? Okay.
Yes, quite interesting, the points that you've raised. In terms of declaration, when I was talking about the process, I spoke about the fact that a returning officer
will have a writ.
Issued the writ for the conduct of the election for the constituency, for both presidential and parliamentary. If any other person is brought in to declare the results, declare the results on what basis? Let me give you an example. In 2004, I was in Accra, and I was tasked to go and monitor the elections in the northern region as a monitor. In the course of the collation, there was a problem, just similar one like what is happening. This is here that we are grappling with. In Tolong, Aferijan at that time directed that because I'm the headquarters monitor in the northern region, I, together with the deputy director, should, with the help of the military command, move to Tolong and have the ballot boxes and the collation sheets, everything brought to Tamale Regional Office to do the collation. Apparently, what happened was that in the course of the collation, the returning officer's house was besieged, his family was beaten, he could not continue. So he has to rush home. Supporters rushed in there with the attempt to burn down his house. They came also to the collation center and disrupted the process. So Aferijan directed that we should bring everything to Tamale Regional Office. We brought everything to Tamale Regional Office. We did what we call we continued with the collation, and then we ended. I, being a headquarters deputy director, though I was directed to see to this, I'm a monitor, I can intervene. Yet I don't have that authority. At the end of the day, we have to go and bring the returning come and do what? And then do the declaration. The deputies were with us when we were doing the collation process. But what does the law say? He has been issued with the writ. And therefore, in places where, in the case of Tichiman South, when the gun was pointed at the returning officer to declare, all that he did without even figures, the people were insisting that he should raise the hand of their candidate. He raised the hand, and raising of hands is just something symbolic. It's not in law. They asked him to do that again, and he was compelled to do that 3 times. And that's what satisfied the supporters to start jubilating. Raising of hands to declare somebody without a declaration of actual results, no figures. So it's something that we should not gloss over.
I see. The point about the rate. Yes. So in those instances, the rate wasn't filled. Okay, is that correct?
It has not been completed. In all the 9 cases that we are talking about, it has not been completed.
It hasn't been completed because of you declaring it illegal, or because they were not the right persons to do so?
Because the process has not terminated.
I see. So where were these returning officers? Do you know their whereabouts when these things were happening? Because you say some of them were not the returning officers who made the declaration, the so-called declarations. Do you know, or have you accounted for where they were when these exercises were going? Because at that time, everybody would expect that the returning officers must be at post, and it is really their job to oversee the process. So have you accounted for where they were the night or when the events were to take place or were taking place?
Salam, if you find yourself in the situation that we're talking about, I believe you'll not feel comfortable staying around.
I see. All right. So you said returning officer or deputy returning officer, but I'm not sure of the mention of deputy returning officer in your law. So the case in Damango, for example, was that the deputy returning officer announced it. And in Fanteakwa, the deputy returning officer announced it, but you said that was illegal. Clarify the two for us.
No, I didn't say that was illegal.
No, I mean, Fanteakwa, what we heard was that
appointment of returning officer and 2 deputy returning officers.
But the law doesn't mention deputy returning officers.
Are you sure?
Yes. If you look at, is it section 41?
Have you? No. Go to the appointment. I think it should be in Regulation 1 or 2 of the CI 127.
Okay.
I don't have my copy, but if I can remember which regulation in terms of the arrangement, I think 1 or 2.
So returning officer.
Exactly.
So
appointment
for the purpose of holding
officer.
parliamentary elections, the commission shall appoint a returning officer for each constituency in which the election is, or any other person to assist the returning officer as determined by the commission. I see. All right. So talk to me about the deputy returning officer in Fanteakwa declaring it, and now that has been overturned. So was it overturned because that person was not the rightful person to do it, or because there were other issues?
In the case of Fanteakwa, I don't have the full facts in front of me here, but I'll check. I'll find out what actually happened.
Okay. All right. And so when are you resuming the recollation? Now that the court has said you can continue, when are you resuming?
Yes. I can say for a fact that we are there now.
Okay. So snippets of what I heard from the court suggest that just 2 or 3 constituencies can be recollated. Is that the same impression you get? Because there were a number of constituencies outstanding. But from what I'm reading, snippets of it, of course, it's just Ablekumanov and Sawame Dredri that you can go ahead and work on. Is that correct?
They are included in what you're doing.
So all the outstanding, the court has allowed you now to go ahead and do the recollation.
We're going on.
And is there not anything wrong with collation and announcement or declaration done outside the constituency? So we see a lot of these happening at Tesano when the constituencies are far away. Is there nothing wrong with that legally?
Legally, you see, when you study the document, the CI 127 very carefully, and then the what do you call it, the registration CI, which is CI 90. You will see that the law provides enjoins the Electoral Commission to publish. Yes. Yes.
So Fred Teta is on Zoom, and it does appear that he's been a bit distracted. But yes, we have him.
We talk about the gazetting of polling stations, registration centers. We talk of gazetting of polling stations. The law doesn't talk of gazetting of collation centers. Okay, so in the performance of the functions of the Electoral Commission, in conditions where the Commission felt that, yes, the places are not conducive, and just like the case that I cited as far back 2004, and we have others that has happened in 1996 and others. In 2004, I made mention of the fact that we moved the collation from Tolon to Tamale Regional Office.
I see.
So the Commission can determine where Commission felt that we have the conducive security and the conducive environment to go ahead with the collation. It's not an issue of it being illegal, not at all. It is legal.
I see. And I understand the NDC is going to court to stay the execution of the decision by the court. Have you been served with that process? Have you been served with it? Will you know?
I'm not in the know.
Okay. All right. I understand you have to go, but we'll be happy to have you back before the program ends, so that when issues come up, we'll put those issues to you for you to address them. So grateful for your time, Fred Tete.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
the Deputy Director Research at the Electoral Commission. He's been helping us address some of the issues. He has to go, but hopefully he will come back to deal with some of the matters that my guests will obviously raise. All right, this is The Big Issue, 97.3 City FM and on Channel One television. Also on all our socials. My name is Selom Adunu. You just heard the Fred Tete, Deputy Director of Research at the EC. My other guest, Alexander Aban, Honorable former MP Buguma West, and Honorable Yedwin Lante Vanderpoel, MP Odododio, and of course Franklin Kujo, President Imani Africa. I wanted to find out from him actually how many seats exactly the EC itself has declared and for which of the parties, because now we are not really sure. But that's fine. Yedwin Lante Vanderpoel, Honorable, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Salom.
Yes, I mean, your days are numbered now. In the next few days, you cease to be a member of parliament. Of course, you are bowing out, willingly. Not that you've been defeated or you are bowing out willingly, so that's fine. So yes, we've heard the EC. What was the NDC's position on all of this? They say that the declarations were not done properly by people who were not supposed to do the declaration themselves. And obviously, if somebody points a gun to your head to make you declare somebody a winner, that's obviously a problem. So what's the NDC's worry about all of this?
Well, first, let me say good morning to our viewers and good morning to my brother. Good morning. Michelle. And to everybody.
Why do you call me Osofo?
Oh, I play keyboard in church. Once you play keyboard in church, I've been doing it for a long time. You and Osofo are cool, so.
I admire his keyboard playing, I admire him a lot. I have two friends, he and Honorable Ebenezer Aboseado, very wonderful.
I see.
Organist in church, and I like organists. Unfortunately, that is one of the areas I tried. I couldn't
succeed.
Master in it. Well, thank you very much. And Salam, let me say this. You know me very well. Unusually on this network, I try to maintain a particular attitude. But this morning, I want viewers to forgive me, everybody forgive me. I'm not going to be charitable at all.
You'll be a rogue today?
This EC is evil.
Hey. Oh.
I'm being frank with you. It's evil.
They are doing their work with the laws.
Why?
I'm sorry to say it.
Why do you say so?
They personifies what the Bible says, the evil intentions of man is continually.
So what is the evil intention?
From day one, this CEC has portrayed a particular intention, mood, exhibited and shown a particular attitude that tells me they don't have this country at heart.
Really? The elections itself were very freely held and very
6
fair.
people have died. 6 people have died in these elections.
But
Salam,
if
in
was it a
2020,
doing of the EC?
under this EC, 8 people died. Salam, how many people died under Justice Diafana when he was EC boss? How many people died under Farijan?
But EC didn't kill them. Those people. People may argue they were lawless, and the security people killed them.
It is your action.
No, not justified.
It is your action and what you do that assume that sort of attitude and reaction from others.
Really?
Did you ever see Afarijan walking around with soldiers?
But times have changed.
Did you ever see
political vandalism and hooliganism is growing?
Really?
Yes.
Really?
People are more willing to die for their parties now.
And the YC is a target.
No, but
if the YC has been that trustworthy, if the YC has exhibited characters of nationalism, patriotism, unbiased, faithfulness, confidence, assume confidence in the public, why would the YC have any fear? Salam, why would the YC have any fear?
But you never know what people have in mind. I
Salam,
mean, even pastors,
all of us walking
pastors
around.
have protection.
Please. Pastors work with soldiers?
They have their own protection, not soldiers necessarily, but they have their own protection.
Yes, Afarijan had protection. Charlottes had protection. I have. You have one form of protection in your house. Either it's a dog or a security man.
I see.
You understand? But as much as because of your own attitude and behavior, you have elevated your protection even beyond that of the Speaker of Parliament and even the Vice President. I don't see that many soldiers following the Vice President around as I see with the EC. It's because she herself don't see the society, Ghanaians, as her security. You understand? Let me tell you, this world has moved so fast. Kinetic security has given way to what we call human security. So you do things to engender confidence and trust so much that the people give you security and not soldiers and guns. You understand me? If I look at this EC, sometimes I wonder, Salam, J. Mensah, when she was at IEA, policies that she propounded, advocated, pushed to make the EC more transparent, accountable, and trustworthy are the same things that today she's frowning upon. Hypocritical. And make me wonder what her real intentions are. You know,
but she supervised an election you won handsomely, you know.
Because she's not God. Because she's not God. Because Ghanaians read into her actions and saw that if they don't give the NDC a mandate that is unquestionable, that she cannot do anything about, she will plunge this country into chaos. And that's what she's even doing. Salam, you try to go through CI 127. You see, what worries me is the fact that the same conditions that existed in 2020, that the EC, arrogantly, shamelessly told the NDC to go to court. It's the same conditions today, and the EC has arrogated to themselves that authority to do the reverse of what they did in 2020. And I was happy you asked that question, and I could see Tete sweating under it. Salam, the EC headquarters is only vested with authority to collate and declare the presidential result. Parliamentary results are collated and declared at the district or constituency offices. You understand? And so if you have a problem with a declaration that has been made, what you need to do is to make sure that that declaration, as made, is investigated. If you have any cause, you give that person the opportunity to go to court and seek redress. As you did in Techiman South. As you did in Karaga.
So I think the point you made is that the results have to be gazetted first. But in those instances, they do not have the rate. The rate they provide the returning officers to fill before they can gazette. They don't have that. So without the rate, you cannot gazette it. That's the point he makes.
Salam. So in effect, what we were saying that there was no conclusion to their work in those constituencies. Thank you. Was there conclusion to the work in Techiman South in 2020?
Perhaps the rate was filled.
By who?
By the person in charge.
You see, Tete, I heard Tete trying to hide under the cloak of Justice Atugube's
Presiding officer comment.
Yes. You know something? We've seen situation, I'm happy you asked that question in Okankwe Central. Where EC officers have cloned pink sheets.
But that remains an allegation, though.
Well, they couldn't deny it when it was proven to them. Cloned pink sheets. We see situation in Weja where strange pink sheets had appeared. You understand? And in this situation, the EC wanted us to ask, why? To accept a cloned pink sheet, as you said, with the same handwriting. They were not even intelligent enough. The same handwriting on multiple pink sheets.
But that's the NDC's.
But it was proven.
Yeah, that's the NDC,
it was proven
NDC
at the collation center. It was proven at the collation center. We see a situation where in Ablekuma North, the MPP do not have pink sheets. And so they came to the collation center with a so-called pink sheet on a phone.
Yeah, they said their pink sheets were destroyed by NDC hoodlums. And
NDC hoodlums destroyed their pink sheets.
And they had scanned them already. That's what they use at their national data center. And so they had that.
Salam. NDC hoodlums destroyed their pink sheets. Where?
They said they were holding them. You know, it was free for all. You know, so people.
Where?
At
the end of the collation at polling stations, each agent is given his pink sheet. Everybody goes his way.
Yeah, but when they get to the
their
collation
own
center,
no,
they give them to the collation officers.
No.
The party collation officers.
No. You have your pink sheet at your own private collation center. Well, that's what I do. Then we send a copy to our agent at the collation center to reconcile
what the EC has.
Yes, and what we have sent to him and what the EC has. So how would the NDC leave their collation center, go to the MPP collation center and go and vandalize their pink sheets? So all the people, so-called MPP agents, were hounded on the road to their collation center, and the pink sheets taken away from them and destroyed. Is that the story? Well, this story will be good for the court. Go and prove it at the court. I heard Tete talking about assault, coercion, threats. What is the evidence? What is the evidence? We all saw Ablekuma North on TV. The MP was there with MPP regional officials. To some extent, even the Justice Kodria, their general secretary, was there with the NDC. They were all there when the coalition was being done. Did we see any violence there? Yes, the two sides were all arguing and debating. But what happened? And you see, strangely enough, they also mentioned Obuasi East. Obuasi East. I saw my colleague, member of parliament, the incumbent member of parliament, standing there when the returning officer declared the result. And today, the EC is telling us a different story. Afanu Southwest, the MPP candidate was there when the declaration was made. We all have the videos. And the EC is telling us another story. You understand? The EC is not being fair and truthful to Ghanaians. And I get worried. You know something? I saw a post by, is it Dr. Professor H Prempe or
HK Prempe.
Kwesi Prempe. I don't know whether, Salam, you've seen that post.
Not yet.
He says
Facebook.
that from the conduct of the EC, if the result of these presidential elections are not being as obvious as it has, this country will have been in chaos by this time because of the conduct of the EC. I didn't say it. Professor Prempe said it. Professor Prempe cannot be claimed to be NDC. You understand? He said it.
Neither is the MPP.
We're fine. I'm saying that's somebody that all of us who divide respect. And this is what he said. I've heard other people, critical minds in this country, talking about the attitude of the EC in this. I've heard Kwesi himself saying that the path and the route the EC is taking is wrong and is dangerous. So he thinks that there must be an alternative path. The NDC has issued an alternative that in all this confusion, let's resort to the mechanism we have all used to resolve such issues, IPAC. Omani Boama has said it several times, that let's all go and sit down at the table, discuss these issues, come to a conclusion, and then we can all know the path forward. But the EC is insistent. The EC is adamant and pursuing this righteous route. That is all that he wants to say. That's all the J. Mensah want to do. That's all that Tete want to do. A route that is going to lead to chaos, confusion, violence. The EC is not interested in having my brother Kwam, and you sitting at the table, discussing the issues, and then coming to a consensus. Look, we guys say that there's nothing in this world. There's no, let me say, issue in this world that you understand. Assembly you are second neutral. You understand? Ano nabu ke nabu. Let's sit down. We are a human institution. We know that these steps or those steps could lead to violence and plunge this country into chaos. And we are proposing a peaceful path where all of us will sit down, jaw, and reach a consensus. The EC says no. I want to be adamant. I want to be insistent. I want to be transigent. I want to stay in the path I have chosen. Against common sense. And this is worrying. It is worrying.
I see.
And I think that people who are interested in the peace and the stability of this nation should tell J. Mensah understand that that obstinate nature of hers is not good for the position she's on this one.
I see. Honorable Aban, Esquire.
Yes,
I
hello.
mean, I don't know where you stand on all these. Issues of duress, etc., are matters of law. They are matters that I'm sure the court will have to determine because we have to take evidence, etc. The EC is insistent on going ahead with the recollation, given all the things we've heard Fred Tete say. The MPP thinks that they've won those seats, and indeed, all those ones that they've recollated have been overturned. Suhum, Akwetia, and then Fantia Kwanoff. The NDC is boiling. What is the way forward?
Thank you very much, and good morning to my friend. Are you done with Carol's night?
Yeah, we did it 3 days today.
You didn't invite me.
Oh, how?
You
For the first time.
You'd have played the keyboard for me.
When I was in Parliament,
you play for
I
them?
did so. Yeah, I did so.
I see.
Last day were you invited?
I was the only MP
Yeah.
who was a member of the
The choir.
choir.
I see. The MPs were not members of the choir.
No, the parliament choir, I never saw any MP being a member.
Oh, the current one, the another member of parliament for Tema Central. Yeah.
Is it Yvette? It wasn't Eves.
Yvette, yeah,
Yeah,
Eves.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
He is also very good with
Keyboard.
With the keyboard.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. In any case, that's
By the way.
on the lighter side. And by the way, I like my very good friend, his equanimity and his coolness in examining issues. But today, he himself decided to rehearse the minds of Ghanaians. That we should forgive him, but I don't want to forgive him. And I'm going to tell you why I don't want to forgive him on that. Okay, maintain your cool every time the way you are. Nothing will happen, right? So that's just by way of advice, because we don't know you to be that. But you see, for you to go ahead to describe the EC as evil, we are gradually, tearing away the confidence that our people must have in state institutions, including the EC. And when such comments are passed or such verdicts are given on what we call the independent institutions of state, we may not know the collateral effect, but its consequences could be very dire. Because for now, it appears to me that the average Ghanaian does not trust the two arms of government, the executive and legislature. The vestige of trust that they have only resides in the judiciary.
Are you sure about that?
That's what I'm saying. That yes.
The latest
Afrobarometer report.
Yes, doesn't show that.
No, that's why I use the word vestige.
Okay, vestige.
That very small one that we have, all the three, we have our own problems. But at least people are willing that regardless of the reduction in the faith of the judiciary, we will still even go there and vindicate our rights anyway, right? So at least there is a modicum of some trust for them. But we still bastardize it with certain comments from the politicians. And sometimes I wonder where we are taking this to. Then we come to the other independent state institutions, one of them being the EC. I had some little privilege, or a huge privilege, if I may put it that way, to have studied in the US for some time, and at the time that we had the Obama elections, I was there. You would not see the massing up of the people we call the polling agents from the various political parties doing all these things that we do here. There's a saying in Fanti, say, if we are bent on going this path, let's learn all the positives that go with it. Because in the final analysis, all these things boil down to mutual mistrusts in the process and in the personalities who are manning these. And that is why we have to get our people to mass up there. And the politicians themselves will tell you, as they go around in their campaigns, they will say, we will get our people to go and sleep at where they are doing the printing and all this and all that and all that and all that, so that nobody would steal the mandate of the people. All that we are doing is to make sure that the person who has the endorsement of the people through their votes are the people who get a chance to go to Parliament to represent us. That's all that we're doing, right? Definitely, because they're human institutions, there would be some few unacceptable incidents here and there, right? But we should not bastardize these institutions. The ultimate effect later in the years would not be good for us. Now, having said that, you wanted to know if, in the light of what is contained in Article 99, the time hasn't come for the EC to just thrust the matter to the courts. Because, with your permission, if I may, even just for the purpose of education of our people, Article 99 says clearly that the High Court shall have jurisdiction to hear and determine any question whether a person has been validly elected as a member of Parliament. The rest is not necessary here. Or whether a person has been validly elected as Speaker. That's also not necessary. Now, we know that the High Court has the jurisdiction to entertain that. But has the process come to a definitive end with one person saying that I do not agree? Or are we saying that because it has been stated that it is a court that has the jurisdiction to entertain this, the EC and the people who are manning the elections cannot be credited with some modicum of, if I say, reasonableness to say that, look, we are in the process of collating. We have done 98 out of 100, right? There has been a disruption, right? If we are able to quell that disruption and restore some kind of peace and tranquility, will it be out of place for us to now say that let us look at what is contained in the remaining two so that we can do the arithmetic and come to a determination which may not necessarily lead to the, waste of judicial ink and time? Is that what you're saying? That because the court, because the Constitution and because the CI 127 state that you have to, in such situations of such conflict, you must go to court, we must start quickly and rush to court? And so I'm not surprised that the judge in his wisdom said that, you know what, go and have this recollation done. Because if I should take a page from the book of the Supreme Court in the decision that they have even given in this Richard Sky case, that whole process must come to an end for you to say that the Electoral Commission has, if I should put it that way, has now got it to its wit's end after the process, and that there is still misunderstanding. And so let us go and deal with it in the courts. That is when issues of one person having written many more pink sheets than would reasonably have been assumed, and that such event, if indeed occurred, then it would give semblance of cloned, as you use the word that you use, cloned pink sheet. And so it should be interrogated, right, and weighed against the various principles that we use in the law of evidence, right? So I'm thinking that if we, not necessarily EC alone, if we as members of this country have the country at heart, we should let the EC have its way and do things right for us.
But the EC, so the allegation is that the EC hasn't really covered itself in glory in the past. So there's a lot of suspicion. So there's a lot of suspicion, and you leave this EC, which people say has a lot of suspicions around his head. It won't go. The EC won't take the decisions in your favor, and you also want to protect what you think is yours. I have already indicated that because it's a human institution, there will be. But let me get there. Let me go there. You see, I do not know if I may also have to borrow a page from your book to be evil. Mischievous, a little mischievous. You say evil?
Oh, not necessarily. Okay, because the conspiracy theory, okay, is gaining momentum. And when it gets to a crescendo, I'm sure the real intent of the incoming administration will be to get rid of her. It's all over. Another intent to get rid of the Chief Justice. And sometimes
But for the Chief Justice, there's already a petition submitted in another.
Let us look at it within context and look at the time that it was.
And the people behind.
Nyabuta. So you see, that's what I'm saying, that unless we have to get to a break where we say that let us have national institutions work, okay, and stop the mutual suspicions, we may not get anywhere, because it means that there will be a cycle of dismissals on what I may call very frivolous and flimsy excuses, okay, anytime that there is a change in government. We must guard against it. You and I, okay, you and I.
like it when you people speak this way.
Not we. I'm speaking as me,
okay.
and he knows me.
I know you.
And when
I know you.
MPP is wrong, I say it. When NDC is wrong, I say it. In fact, I have friends.
I didn't hear your comment when Charlotte was removed.
Oh, I don't think I made any comment, not because I approved of it, or not because I didn't approve of it.
Okay.
Right? Good. But we must make sure that institutions work, and we must credit them with some modicum of human decency and fairness.
Alex, I want not to cut you. Let me ask you a simple question.
Do.
If, for example, a EC boss, right from day one, sees the NDC as a danger to our democracy, you expect the NDC to have confidence in that EC officer? Especially when there is also a proven record that that EC officer was once a TESCOM patron.
All these matters.
You expect the NDC to have confidence in a EC when obviously somebody who was an MPP agent in 2020 election had become a commissioner.
All
You
these
expect
matters.
the NDC to have confidence in a EC where somebody who everybody in Ghana knows that has worn MPP clothes before.
Who?
The former, what do you call it? He's the one who is in charge of IT now.
Who, Bossman Asari?
Not Boss Massapi, he's a member. Apia or something.
Okay.
You understand? So, it is not the NDC who is the problem. It is appointing authority which did not have regard for national interests and so try to mutilate the moral fiber of the EC by appointing its own. How do you expect Accra House of Folk to go into a match with confidence in a referee who was former chairman of Asante Kotoko? You understand me?
Okay.
So it is these things.
I understand these things. Okay. I understand these things which fuel perception. I understand these things which fuel perception, but may not necessarily lead to realities. Because after all, this is what leads us to be hypocritical in the way we conduct ourselves. Right? The last time Amaliba was here, and I asked him, for instance, the way he knew me, if I wanted to go to the bench, for instance, would he object just because at a point in time I was MPP? You see, if we don't take care, and we always want to project somebody's future by looking at his past associations, we may not get anybody to do things right because of that, right? Because you see, somebody may have taken it as a career pathway. He gets to a point, he says, no, I don't want to be a politician anymore. But this is probably my way.
I want to clap for
See,
you.
look, because I have had judges who have told me that, young man, why did you even go to politics in the first place?
You know something? From that point, when you decide, let me tell you one thing. Before I became a commentator, everybody knows I was House of Folk. But as soon as I sat in the commentary box, I decided that I must be as objective as possible, to the extent that even House of Folk supporters were not happy with me, because they thought that I would paint it in a particular manner. But the professional induction in me wouldn't permit me to do so. So as soon as, no matter, when you check career path and you get yourself into a particular seat that is supposed to make you as objective, as principled as it is, your own character and behavior is what will make people say that, oh, even though this guy was this, he's been very principled.
Because I always use a person like Justice Powerman as an example.
Thank you.
But beyond that, so are we saying that those people that you think had close association with the MPP and may have got appointment to the members of the EC, to be members of the EC, since their appointment, have they still shown those tendencies?
Oh yes, obviously.
Because you see, that's where I'm coming to. And that's why, anyway, I do not know you, I do not have your evidence, but I think that we must be very, very careful, very, very wary in our criticism of state institutions, especially the independent bodies. It will bite us one day.
You see, that is why I say that sometimes,
we must be careful.
Sometimes prevention is better than cure. There are thousands of Ghanaians out there who are qualified, or possibly more qualified
than
hypocrites.
They may be hypocrites.
Yeah, you see, but that one reduces the measure of distrust right from day one. It reduces the measure of distrust right from day one. You understand? They may be hypocrites, yes. But
because we have conditioned our society for us to behave this way.
Yeah. So you see, we appear to be digressing. But so
anyway,
the issues, yes. But I'll take a short break. When I come back, we'll reposition.
We'll reset.
We'll reset the matter. This is the big issue on 97.3 City FM and on ChannelOne television. My name is Salam Adunu. My guest in the studio, the Honorable Nilante Vanderpoy of the NDC and Alexander Aban, Honorable of the MPP. We spoke to Fred Tete, Deputy Director, Research of the EC from the beginning, and he made quite some interesting points about why the recoalition exercise will have to resume. And we'll speak to Franklin Kujo as well when we come back. Don't go away. You're welcome back. This is a big issue. We're looking at the matters of recoalition, etc., with the EC. The EC boss saying they need security to be able to continue. The court has said they should continue. The NDC says they filed a stay of execution. The EC deputy director I spoke to says he's unable to confirm that. We'll see how things are panning out. We understand that they may start the recoalition today, but we'll confirm that to you in due course. My guest on the program this morning, Honorable Nilante Vanderpoy, MP Odododio, on the ticket of the NDC, Alexander Aban, Esquire, former MP, Gomwa West. We heard from Fred Tete, Deputy Director of the EC, and then we'll hear from Franklin Kujo as well, President of Imani Africa. But just looking at the processes, I mean, and what the way forward will be. And so, Honorable Nilante Vanderpoy, I mean, how do we resolve this? I mean, at IPAC?
You crash-landed me. Anyway, let you finish. I'll come back.
All right.
We've proposed IPAC.
But is IPAC the only way to resolve this?
No, it's a we think that the best way for all of us is to have some conclusions. Let's go to IPAC. Let's all of us agree that this is a route we want to go. We are going to do recoalition. We are going to do this. We are going to agree, okay, in this particular constituency, there were about 32 polling stations left. When we all agree, it makes it easier for us to move on together. Because in this particular issue, the only way to resolve this thing peacefully and amicably is for the parties, the stakeholders, to have some conclusion.
No, but the IPAC, whatever you do is advisory, right? In the final analysis, it's not the EC.
No, but you see, it makes it easier for the EC to use that vehicle. Because then me, you, and I have agreed that this is the path we want to go. It makes it easier. Even if the EC do not agree, the EC will now convince us at that table that even though this is what we want to do, we think this one is more efficient. When you and I agree or see some sense in the EC,
I think they should give it a shot. Because the thing is that when you go and sit there, we will say, they will come and tell you that, look, there were these two to add to 98 to make 100, right? Mm-hmm. These are our figures. You may also say that, okay, we have seen some 3 pink sheets which seem to have been written by one same person.
Yes.
Okay, can we all interrogate that? And then after that, they can say, okay, we have now agreed that the 2 are the outstanding.
Yes.
The rest are correct.
Yes.
So go ahead and add that one.
Yeah, as lawyers, you know, so you could go to court maybe on a matter, civil matter of maybe, let me say, shares or something in a company, or you agree that, okay, this particular aspect is not a dispute, so let's put it aside. This is what is left. Let's go and talk about it. Those are the things we expect to do.
Yeah, in course,
so
we do that.
If the
judgment
NDC,
of admission.
If the NDC is proposing this, the NDC is the one proposing this, it is better for the EC to understand that the NDC wants some peace and some conclusion to this.
The question is it genuine? No, or sometimes you know that truly you don't have it. But let me also go and play Tatashi.
No, you see,
is that also not
at the end of it all, you have somebody who has proven to the EC since we rejoined IPAC that we mean well. We mean well. 2, you see, you are talking about situations where certain attitudes and behavior is making it impossible for you to do what you want to do or what you intend to do. And we are saying, let's move away from that particular situation and go into a room where the parties will sit down quietly with you, the referee, discuss the issues as you are saying. So the same things that we could have discussed in the recol situation, we will have discussed it in a room where the 2 of us are sitting down and then come to some conclusions. And that one the EC say no.
But going forward,
well, I understand some recollation has been concluded at the Recollation Center.
Which one is that?
The Obuasi East has been concluded, and the difference between the 2 parties is 19 votes. And so that has been declared for the MPP. But we'll get to our correspondent there now. So, of course, they were done without the NDC representatives.
Can you believe this? And you said the NDC to accept it.
No, but the law is clear that if they don't come and they knew about it, you go ahead and do it. Because without that, one party
have already filed.
Yeah, so that's another matter. So
Yes.
so that's entirely different matter.
Why, you see, the same EC
But
boss.
we'll reach our correspondent to tell us.
The same EC boss who, during our presidential primaries, said that she has heard a bird had whispered to her that there is a process in court against the presidential primaries. So they are unable to continue the service. Today, even with the notice of an action in court, is going ahead to do. So when I use the word evil, you didn't understand me. You understand? Every intention, every attitude, every move of this EC is turned towards creating chaos.
I see.
Alex, you understand me?
But no, you're a lawyer. If indeed there's a process served on them, stay of execution, then this is problematic, is it not?
Of course. Of course. Because you see, I believe that we must let the law work. Because all these things that we are doing, they are supposed to be handmade to serve the interests of Ghana. And so if the law says that, look, if somebody has filed self-execution, just stay your hands. Let us go through the process. So that at the end of the day, if that stumbling block, legal stumbling block, is taken away, you can go ahead and then do your work. Because this issue of, whether it is done by me or some other person, so long as we are part of society, I think we should not countenance that. Okay? On the other side, too, you hear, okay, the court has spoken. We'll see how it is going to be enforced. And all that. We are not doing good to our own selves if you do that. So it is in the same vein that I will say that the EC should not.
So I'm using the word if. If indeed the process is being served on the EC, which is a state institution,
they should not.
Then this is in bad faith.
Yes. If that is the case, then somebody should be cited for contempt. I think that we should have respect for our institutions, especially the court. Otherwise, a time will come, the court will speak and nobody will mind the court.
I see. This is a big issue, 97.3 City FM on ChannelOne television. A number of your messages have come through to us. Let me quickly read some of them. This one says, good morning, sir. Please thank God for your life and all the good people helping to make the big issue a must listen show every weekend. Said, please, may I suggest you write a proposal to make it possible for all pre-tertiary schools in Ghana to vacate before general election every leap year, or every year, every election year, you mean. Please, our students going to school after the polls was quite scary for parents. God bless you and team. Well, that's an interesting one. We'll see about that. But 2 lawmakers are here, so we'll see. Good morning, honorable members on the big issue. Please, is it possible for the EC to juxtapose the final outcomes of the 9 constituencies with global info analytic research work to know the real winners for the peace of our motherland, Barcelona? The real poll is what happened on December 7th, so I don't know how that will work. Good morning, Salom and his crew. I just want to ask the EC what she wants to achieve in this regard and what is her plan for nullifying those 9 constituencies. Look from Upper West region. Salam, in 2020 general election, the rule was if anyone has an issue after declaration, kindly go to court. What happens this year? What happened to this year's election that the EC can not ask political party to go to court? This recollation is a strategy between the EC and the ruling party currently to swing the 2/3 of the incoming government, but it will not work. If the NDC leadership sits and allow this to happen, they will see where Pepe lies in 2020 general elections, as Ghanaians did to the MPP about 2 weeks ago. This Cornelius from Bono region. Salam, you see the deputy EC found it difficult answering questions posed to him. A question will be asked and he was shift in answering the questions posed to him. See, this is Cornelius as well. All right, let's go to the phone and let's go to the collation center or the recollation center and speak to Charles Kumi, my correspondent or our correspondent there, to have a proper understanding of what's happening. Hello, Charles. Good morning. Welcome to the big issue.
Thank you very much, Salam. Good morning to you.
Yes. So where are you exactly and what's happening? We understand some declarations have been made. Tell us about it.
Yes, we're currently at the regional office of the Electoral Commission here at Ridge. Just a few moments ago, the recollation for Obuasi East was completed, and the NPP's candidate has been declared winner of that election. Currently ongoing on here is the recollation for Tema Central. But there is a bit of confusion on that table because the NDC's Member of Parliament for South Dai, who is representing the NDC here, the Honorable Nelson Dafiameko, and the NDC's candidate for Tema Central, E.B. Bright, they've asked for some time for the NDC's agent for Tema Central to be here before the recollation is done. But the Electoral Commission officers are saying that they have waited long enough and they intend to go on with the process. It is the reason why you can see in your shot these arguments ongoing currently. We'll just try and listen to a bit of what's happening.
You give him directives. You cannot tell me how to do my work. Yes, he works under him. He works under. Nobody is also a small boy. Nobody is also a small boy. You petition your head office and say that this man didn't handle the process. Then you come here, then you want to take charge. So then you go and complain again that he didn't take charge. You won't take charge. You will take charge. You are not in 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 charge. I'm telling you, you are not in charge. He is in charge. Because that is your petition. So keep quiet. So keep quiet. You are interfering. Keep quiet. Keep quiet.
I am not interfering.
You are interfering. You are interfering.
I will not sit down for you to intimidate me.
Who is intimidating you? You just speak English. Who is intimidating you? You are doing the wrong thing. We are telling you, say intimidation. You have been so unlawful.
How many police stations are here?
Honorable Roxon, we're live on ChannelOne TV. What exactly is going on here?
Disrupted the process. Who disrupted the process? Who disrupted the process? This matter went to court. Please, can you be patient? This matter went to court. The court ordered that the process be done again, so he can. Why? Is that an issue? It wasn't an issue. The court says recollect. So you are recollecting everything. You understand? Why? The EC itself declared that there were only two big seats outstanding. Nobody disrupted the process. What's your language? Nobody disrupted the process. So let's allow the officers do their job. Let nobody come and interfere.
Who is interfering?
Who wants to do the wrong thing? I am putting him right. I am putting him right. Why?
Chairman Agom, the NPP's chairman for the NPP in the Greater Accra region. We need to that is going.
Why are you saying that is not an issue?
All right, Ibi. Okay, so I have here with me Ibi Bright, the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Tema Central. Ibi, what's all these agitations?
So again, just like before, the Metro director petitioned that the person who handled the process of collation and declaration of results was not the returning officer for Tema Central. But that was a decision that he himself made to hijack the process and run the process. So that is number one. If we have the chance now to finish this process, then he must allow the correct officer do the right thing. By your own
The correct officer would be who?
officer. So let him, that is
The one that was brought in from Tema West?
The officer who is supposed to handle the process is the returning officer for Tema Central. Now for my collation, the Metro director decided that the returning officer should sit aside and not participate in the process, just sit there while he handled the process. And by the time he was done, when he decided that he did not want to declare me winner, he asked his colleague from Tema West to declare the results. He made all those decisions. Now we've come here after you yourself have made a petition. After you yourself have made that petition, which has been widely publicized, you now come here today and want to replay the same scenario where you are taking charge of the process and the arrow is sitting down. So that whatever happens at the end of the day, you start to claim again that the arrow was not the one, which makes it illegal. So let the arrow take charge of that is our point. But let the arrow make his decisions and take charge of the process.
Yeah, but I hear his argument. His argument is that the arrow will be in charge, but whenever he has to come in the process, he will.
Please, right from the beginning, you see him taking charge of the process. Let him stand down. There's not been any problem yet. The arrow has not begun his work. Let him do his work. If there's any consultation we need from you or clarification, then you come in. You don't start to commandeer the process and give instructions like you did before. Because it was based on your instructions that all of this have happened. If anybody is complaining that the one who made the declaration is a Tema West, you were the one who made that instruction by your own admission. If you go back and you read his petition, he said, I instructed the officer from Tema West to make the declaration. So how is that used against us when it was on your instructions? So let him not give any instructions today. The law requires that the RO handles the process. Let him do so.
We had an earlier indication that the NDC is not taking part of this process. Has that changed?
No, the NDC is not taking part in this process. But we know from the posture and the total disregard for the workings of the law and whatever it is that these people disregard. And we will not sit by, especially since we have a case to stand on, and allow them to commit an illegality without challenge. So we're here to witness just what illegality they intend, because that is our suspicion and it's founded on previous conduct. At least we're here to see what exactly it is. It's better than staying home and allow them have a field day. We will stand our ground today and we'll see. I firmly believe that once we don't leave it up to them, we will have a chance to make sure that the right thing is done.
So that position has changed, monitoring all of the rest of
This is my position. This is the position of myself and council. This is our position. It is not the party's position. I am here representing myself as a contestant in this particular election, Tema Central, and for the people of Tema Central. So, like I said, I mean, it's not necessarily conclusive today. You know, the processes are not conclusive, but we have our case here. We have our pink sheets and everything. So we're here to continue the process and conclude to whatever it is. We need to understand what their position is, because I don't think that it's changed from before. What brought me to the point of being declared as a candidate for Tema Central hasn't changed. The bare facts remain the same. We want to see where they intend to take this.
You're confident that after the recollation, you would emerge winner?
Well, like I said, the facts won't change. The fact is that we started this process with problems with 18 sheets. We conceded on many of them, but there are just 2 that we cannot agree to accept, and those still remain. So let's see whatever it is that didn't conclude last time. As far as I'm concerned, it concluded. Let's see the end of it, and I'm happy that you're here. So let's continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the NDC candidate for Tema Central, E.B. Bright. I mean, sharing her reservations about what has gone on here since the recollation for Tema Central began. It's already completed the recollation for Obuasi East and overturned the results that was earlier declared there by the returning officer. The returning officer has told us that he did that declaration under duress, and so his life was threatened. It was the reason why he declared the NDC candidates winner, and that has been overturned by the recollation exercise that has been done here. So the NPP's candidate has now been declared winner for Obuasi East. There are other recollation exercises going on in a separate room for 7 other constituencies. We know that there are 9 constituencies that are outstanding. Obuasi East is done. Tema Central is ongoing. Okankwe Central is also ongoing. Ahafwanu Southwest, Ahafwanu North also happening. Ablikma North is also being recollated. Dom Kwabena, I've seen the NPP's candidate for Dom Kwabena in the other room, Michael Kwe Jr., observing the processes keenly. So that's exactly what's going on here currently, Salon.
All right, I see. That's quite interesting. But have you spotted any of the EC top officials there? Because, and can you also confirm to us whether the NDC's stay of execution process is being served on the EC or not? Can you confirm these 2 things to us? Any of the senior officials of the EC there, and whether the process is being served on the EC?
I lost you at the top EC officials, but yes, the Director of Electoral Services for the Electoral Commission, Mr. Bano Bio, he's here. He's here with the Deputy Director of Research, Mr. Fred Tete. These are the 2 top officers of the Electoral Commission I have seen here at the recollation center. I didn't get the other part of the question.
I wanted to find out, because yesterday we heard from the NDC Director of Legal that they have filed a stay of execution motion to stay the execution of the court order. I wanted to find out whether that has been served on the EC or not. Will you be able to check for us?
Well, yes, we asked. Yes, we asked Mr. Banobio if they have received their processes from the courts, but he says no, they are not aware of any order from the courts in that regard. So, the Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxy Nelson Dafiameko, still engaged in a heated argument with officers of the Electoral Commission from Tema Central. where the recollation for that particular constituency is supposed to begin in earnest. It has not started yet. Yes, I can.
To lead the process. You know, the returning officer is there, the metro director too is there. So, I'm sure the metro director will say is the boss.
Yes.
But who do we know? Is it?
Yes. So the metro director. Yeah, the metro director insists that the returning officer is the one in charge. But as and when he has to interfere, he would. But Mr. Dafiamepo's argument is that no, he should allow the returning officer to take charge of the entire process. And so they will not allow him to interfere. And this is what has caused Hello, Honorable. Hello, Honorable. Hello, Honorable.
And Mr. Broby, I'm putting you on notice. The court didn't say that go and start from where you left off. You didn't leave anything off. The court said the process was irregular. So start afresh. Please, you are not the returning officer. Stop interfering in this process. Stop interfering in this process. You are a very corrupt man. You have been a conversation with everyone. We don't know. We don't know. We will not be part of this process.
Honorable Dafiameko.
If you collect afresh, then we are leaving.
You are leaving because they won't collect.
Yes, the court says collect afresh because what happened was an illegality. So the man says he wants to continue from where he left off. Why did you leave off? Why did you petition your head office? Because you said the process was irregular. Now the court says collect afresh. Then you come and tell me that you just want to continue from where you left off. Where did you leave off? What you did was you petitioned that it was bad. The court says recollect. Then you come back and say you want to continue from the wrong process that you left off.
Why are you abandoning the process instead of staying and insisting on what is right?
Please choose your words carefully. You saw that we have come to participate in the process. The EC officer, Mr. Fosuhin, who is a metro director, who has no role in this process. In fact, in this process, it is the returning officer who has the power. Again, he has come to take over the process and commandeering everything. We will not be part of the process.
What would you do if they finish and come out with a final declaration? What action would you take on that?
It means they have decided to do whatever they want, even though the court has given clear directives. The court says recollate. We didn't use that phrase. The court language said recollate. To recollate means retabulate. You want to tabulate from where you left off. What did you leave off? You claim, you petition that the process was bad. So the whole process should be annulled.
What action are you taking on this?
I am leaving the process because now he's deciding the process according to his whims and caprices. He doesn't want to obey the law.
If a candidate emerges out of this, would you accept it as
why would this be acceptable to
me? Even if the NDC is candidate.
Why would this be acceptable to me? What is bad? X in the healing fix. You can't put something on nothing and expect it to stand. You understand?
So that was the Member of Parliament for South Dai representing the NDC at the Tema Central recollation table. They are abandoning the process because for them, the metro officer in charge of that table is not going by the dictates of the court. The court directed for a total recollation of Tema Central, but they have decided to continue from where they left off the last time they attempted to do recollation. So the Roxy Nelson Dafiameko and the Tema Central NDC parliamentary candidate, E.B. Bright, have all left the coalition process. We'll go back in there and find out if indeed the process will continue without the presence of the NDC.
The NDC candidate and this lawyer, Nelson Dafiameko, himself an MP, who has been returned to the House, leaving the place. That's a field day then for the EC and the MPP officials, is that not it? So what happens? They will go ahead and make the declaration, recollate or add the 2 pin sheets outstanding, and then make the declaration. That's what will happen, right? Hello, Charles? Hello, Charles.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, I'm saying that. So now that
sir.
they've left the
Good to see
place, the place is
Hello,
become
sir.
a field day for the
Yes.
MPP and the EC officials. They will go ahead, do it, and
Yes.
declare. And then that becomes another matter.
So it looks like that's just what's going to happen. They're just going on, go ahead and do the recollation and declare the winner of Tema Central. So without
the point of
input
contention, just to be
of
clear
the
for those
NDC.
joining, is just to be clear. The point of contention is that the NDC says that if they are doing recollation, which the court has ordered them to do, they should start from the beginning, start afresh, and get to the end. But the Metro director we saw in the Fugu, who was sparring with Dafia Mekpo, insists that he will do only the 2 polling stations outstanding. Is that correct? Hello, Charles.
Yes. I can hear you.
Yeah, is that correct? The dispute is that the NDC wants them to start afresh, as they
Yes.
claim the court has said. But the EC Metro director we saw insists
Yes,
on just
yes, start
adding
afresh.
the 2
Yes.
polling stations outstanding. So how are they resolving that?
Just adding the 2 polling stations outstanding. So they're now currently discussing how to go about it. I just heard the returning officer for Tema Central say that his life is at stake. He's currently engaged in conversation with the Director of Education and Training at the Electoral Commission, Mr. Sribo Kwaku. So we'll try and get some of that conversation. Mr. Kwaku.
Well, some sights and scenes from the EC room.
Looks
where
like there is some
stalemate.
deadlock here.
Yeah, at the place, yes. So the
Yes,
returning
there is
officer,
currently a
obviously,
deadlock. So a decision is yet to be made whether to go on ahead with the recollation. The returning officer, he seemed a bit apprehensive. He's quite uncomfortable.
but Charles, tell me.
Everybody is now waiting.
Yes, Charles. So the returning officer doesn't
Yes,
agree
everybody is now
with
waiting.
the Metro boss,
Yes.
right? The returning officer wants to do
Yeah,
it,
it looks like there's
but the Metro director
some-
wants to do it himself. Is that what
Yes.
it is?
I'll just try and get a bit of clarity on that. We're not hearing anything from the EC themselves yet.
Yeah, but I just want to understand what's
Since
happening
the
there.
NDC left,
The
it's-
returning officer is saying his life is at risk, but is he insisting that he is the right person to do it, and so disagreeing with the Metro director who is also insisting to do it? Is that the case there? What's happening?
Let me try and get a bit of clarity on this matter with the NPP's parliamentary candidate for Mr. Forson. Council, if you can help us here a bit. So we know that the NDC, they have left. Is this process going to continue as planned without the NDC? Majority Leader. We're live on ChannelOne TV.
Oh, good afternoon to ChannelOne TV.
Good afternoon to you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Looks like there's some stalemate here. Can you help us a bit, get clarity going forward?
A moment of difficulty, prayer. That's what I'm telling my people. A moment of difficulty is prayer. So I'm calming them. Yes, a moment of difficulty is prayer. You don't fight. This country is all we have. It's prayer. No need to fight. No need to unnecessarily argue. Prayer. That's what I'm telling them. I'm here to tell my colleagues it's prayer. God answered everything. We are not here to fight. God answered everything. So we will not argue, we pray.
But what exactly is needed for the process to resume?
Everything. God answered everything is prayer. The talking will not give the solution, it's prayer.
Thank you very much. Mr. Metro Director, Maybe the Metro Director should talk to us, because looks like... Hello, sir. Excuse me. Hello, sir. You seem to be... You don't want to talk to us? Okay. Let me try the arrow and see if he will speak to us. Hello, sir. I heard you say that your life is in danger. Where the media, would you like to share with us why you feel that your life is in danger? Hello?
I will not talk.
You will not talk. Do you feel that you're being pressurized to do something that you don't want to do?
Nobody is pressurizing me.
So why then can the process continue? What needs to be done for the recollation of Tema Central to resume?
I'm saying there are two parties. We have one party here. The other need to see for us to arrive at a compromise. Then we continue. Because what we have been through since the 7th of December till today, I don't want to recollect whatever happened. It's okay.
So you're not going to do the recollation unless the NDC is here?
Both parties must be present. We arrive at a compromise. Because that very day, the threats that went on my family till today, I can't risk my life.
You're scared that if you go ahead without the input of the NDC, your family would be at risk?
Not my family, even myself. Hope you heard what happened in Tema, the regional police headquarters. So it's okay. I don't want to continue. It's okay.
What's your name, sir?
My name, I'm Bruby.
All right, Mr. Bruby, thank you very much.
Oh, I don't want to talk again. I've said what I want to say, and you heard it, so it's okay.
All right, thank you very much. So, Salam, we had the returning officer for Tema Central. He gave his name as Broby. He says that unless the NDC is here at the recollation table, giving their inputs and both parties can reach a compromise, he would not continue with the recollation exercise because he has received threats on himself and his family, and he doesn't feel safe to continue with the recollation exercise. I can hear you, Salam.
Yes, I saw Dr. Sribo Kwaku around just behind you when you were talking to Mr. Broby. I wish you could get a comment or two from him.
Yes.
I wish you could get a comment or two from him on what's happening and what he thinks of the process.
Yeah, we'll just try and do that. We tried that earlier, but he's kind of trying to shy away from us. So we're just trying to talk to Mr. Kwaku. Salam, he's not willing to speak to us at the moment, but so he's talking to the Metro Director. I don't know. Hopefully they can reach a compromise and the process can continue. But the news from the Tema Central recollation table is that the returning officer, who gives his name as Broby, is refusing to resume the recollation exercise because he feels that the NDC must be here and reach a compromise with the NPP on the way forward because he is scared for his life and for that of his family. So currently, there's a stalemate here. We'll go to the other centers and see what exactly is happening here. It's about a few meters away from here, Salam. So if you can take over so that you get back to us when we get into the other room where the other 7 constituencies are being recollated.
There you go. In the first instance, we saw Obuasi East declared, I think difference of 19 votes, goes to the MPP. There was no NDC person there, right? Is it the general situation? And indeed, I heard from Ebi Bright.
No, there was.
Is it a general situation that there is no NDC person there after because they boycotted the process?
Yes, they have. The indication we're getting from the NDC is that they do not want to be part of what is happening here today. And so it was actually surprising to see Dafia Mekpo and Ebi Bright here.
Their reason being that they have served.
She mentioned that she wanted.
And what's the reason? with the stay of execution application.
Court processes. Yes, that's they have secured a stay of execution on the court's decision for the recollation exercise to be done. But the EC officials say that they have not received any notice from the court yet.
I see. All right. So we will come back to you. Let's know when something else comes up. So that was my colleague, Charles Osukumi, at the EC regional office, where recollation exercise for the outstanding constituencies are going on simultaneously. So if it goes on smoothly, possibly by end of day, we will have all these constituencies declared. Amongst those being recollated, I think include Omeko Abenya. So Obuasi East has been done. A difference of 19 votes goes to MPP. We just saw Tema Central, where a lot of issues are. And if you recall, when we're speaking to Mr. Fred Tete of the EC earlier in the program, he used the Tema Central constituency as a case study. And he says there are about 5 issues there. He said, 1, there was rampaging, there was besieging of the place by party supporters, and they caused havoc. So that's why they couldn't continue. He said there was assault. He also said that total number of polling stations were not tabulated. There was an outstanding of 2. And that the rightful persons were not the people who declared it, and that they didn't even fill the writ that they have to gazette later. And he mentioned some pink sheet issues where he talked about the 2012 presidential election petition, presiding officers not signing, and what happens to that, etc., etc. So that's appeared that Tema Central is a big matter. And Ebi Bright, who's been contesting, this is the 3rd time she's contesting on the ticket of the NDC, feels she's so close to it this time around. And that explains why you saw her there and the things she's been talking about. Her lawyer and herself, her lawyer being Nelson Dakar, a member of parliament for Saudai, who was also re-elected in this election. Just saw them there. They've walked out. The returning officer is saying that they must be present before the process can start. The law has a position on that. I will dig that up and read it out to you so you make an informed decision on what is happening. Gentlemen, I mean, so interesting things.
Proceed, let me ask a simple question. If you, I thought that the law says that if you even have a hint about a process served on you in court, you must stay.
No, I think it should be served. What is a hint?
Especially when it comes to injunctions, stay of execution, I mean, they are all forms of injunction.
Yes.
And
what
we have
Supreme
so
Court.
you mean
stop.
this should not have indicated with the EC?
No, but what shows that they've seen it? You have seen it. In fact, what shows they've seen it? Maybe they've not seen the graphic today.
But the same Jim Mensah said she has heard a whisper about the process being commenced against the EC. And so use that to take a decision.
There are still some gray areas in that law. Okay, you take a case like Republic versus Alote Esparte
Mofat.
Okay.
And Esparte Dufour.
Yes. It says that so long as you have knowledge of it, even if that application has not even been moved, you must stay.
But that's in respect of interlocutory injunctions.
Yes.
But stay of execution, because of the very nature of this of the processes that lead to the stay, because it's an execution matter.
Yes.
You have to stay once you accept.
Yes.
So that's quite different from interlocutory. Interlocutory injunction, you can play with that gray area.
Yes.
But when it comes to stay of execution, you have no option because at that point it's execution.
But the point is that this one that he said he should go ahead.
Yes, so I think the point we have to clarify whether they have been served or not.
But what happens to the procedure which says that any decision by a court, okay, is automatically stayed for 7 days, even before. What happens to that one? In a situation like this, because the court has spoken.
Yeah,
but if somebody wants to disagree with the court, the person disagrees with the court, and he wants to go.
And the decision came just yesterday.
The decision came yesterday.
And today's Saturday, and they are collating.
And that is why, in the wisdom of those who made the law, they know that somebody may not agree. So when a decision comes, there's automatic stay for 7 days. Does not that apply in this instance?
I wonder.
I don't know.
I
that
really
one also,
wonder.
I'm sure,
I really wonder.
would get somebody to go to court and say, look, the court spoke, and just within some 24 hours, some people went to do it, not affording me, the affected person, the opportunity to explore.
But in this case, they have taken the step. In this case, of course, I listened to Eduji yesterday. They said they have taken the step. And now we need to clarify whether the EC has been served or not. The NDC says the EC has been served. The EC official we spoke to says he is not sure about it. He can find out. My correspondent there is saying that the people say they've not.
No, but even the automatic stay, it has
so
something to do with whether you have
stay
been served or not.
You are introducing is an interesting one.
Yeah, that's an interesting area.
I recall doing a case at the Court of Appeal. I could have easily, it was a stay matter.
Yes.
I could have gone ahead, but we still have to leave the 7 days. After which the guys have now moved to the Supreme Court. But I mean, that's fine. So it's interesting. So there's confusion all over. Where do we go from here?
So you see why I said the EC is evil?
Oh, Masa.
Someone says you don't repeat that.
Masa, you see, for now.
Yeah. But obviously, this is not the way to go in your view.
Yes, let's cool heads prevail. Because if you're going to...
Majority leader, who was elated when he was majority leader, says, yes, we give it to prayers at this time. So it's prayers.
The prayers should happen if you go all to sit down at IPAC.
I see. I think we need to make progress.
They could have even used the 7-day stay to deal with these things.
Maybe they are racing against them. I don't know what. But
no, but the point is that, is it the first time that we have had inauguration of parliament
without
certain members?
No, I don't think so.
Sal, for 4 years, they didn't have an entry.
So.
I see.
And so we must not be in indecent haste to get ourselves in a ditch.
I'll take a short break. When I come back, we'll move to our next matter. This is the big issue. 97.3 City FM, Channel 1 television. Don't go away. Welcome back. This is the big issue. We're moving to the next matter. We're talking about Oral, the Operation Recover All the Loot. It's a campaign promise by John Dramani Mahama, President-elect, to recover all the loot. And he has set up a team, a committee. We call it a preparatory committee, according to the chair, Okudzeto Ablakwa, to receive information from the public and understand as of yesterday, they have received over 400 cases that they are pouring through. And it does appear that interesting days obviously lie ahead. And the question has been raised about their mandate, the authority upon which they are acting and all of that. They've been trying to explain. One of them, there are 5 of them. Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa chairs it. Daniel Domelevo, former Auditor General, is one of them. COP Kofi Boachi is another. Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner, another. And Raymond Acha, investigative journalist. These are the members. We'll have one of them on the show today. Daniel Domelevo will be my guest in the next few minutes to explain to us really what the position is. But let me start off with you, Honorable Mila Tevanapo. It's your government in waiting, trying to do something. Talk to us about this whole Oral. But before that, people want to know how many seats actually, the NDC has. So officially, how many seats does NDC have now?
According to our coalition, we have 184.
184.
So less than 9.
So the 9 in contention are not part of the 184?
Yes.
But do we know how many the EC has declared for you?
That is what we are having.
That's the 184?
Yes.
Okay.
We are depending on what the EC has declared.
Okay.
The MPP has 81. And then we have 4.
So if you get all the 9, means you are getting to the 190s?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
All right, so that's it.
We have 4 independents.
Absolute
four
majority.
Independents. All right. Okay.
And those independents are likely to do business with you.
At least I can say that at least 2.
I hear the one in Woolensey is an NDC. Was an NDC guy.
All the Woolensey and Afram Place North.
Afram Place North. Who was MP there? Who did he?
Betty Crosby.
Oh, was it the lady?
Yeah, the Betty.
Oh, I see. Oh,
the 2.
But there's Asante Akim North, where Ajakubi was, but that will likely go to MPP.
Yes.
And how about A+?
A+ has stated clearly that
he will do business
want to
with
be
NDC.
Independent.
Where will he sit?
He said he would, depending on the issue on the floor of the House.
But he must have a sitting place.
No, he can sit in the middle. There's always a distance.
No, but I understand. I recall Jomoro, what's the name? Sammy Nkrumah.
Yes.
the early stages, wanted them to create a place in the middle for her.
Yeah.
But the speaker, or somebody said...
It is either you are in a minority
You see, but then in other jurisdictions...
But we don't have
on issues, you decide where to vote.
So you'll be changing your sitting position?
No, it doesn't matter.
On the issues you can decide, but where will you sit?
You see,
which caucus will you join?
Yes, that's the issue. There is a possibility of creating an independent caucus. Parliament is a master of its own rules.
Well,
Parliament can decide. If really people want to have their own independent caucus, they can. In America, they have. You understand?
But the Constitution talks about
minority and majority.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's obvious that at least we can have 3 people, A plus, and the 2 others joining us to do business, and then Frimpong
joining the MPP.
That is if he wants to join.
Okay, I see. All right. So now talk to me about oral campaign promise. Now you have won, and is it necessary to do this now?
All of us have agreed the fact that anything that we have to do as a country to be able to minimize the incidence of corruption and wastage in our society is important. All of us have lamented about the number of or amount of money that this country loses through corruption and seepage. The Auditor General's reports are replete with many instances of abuse, corruption, misapplication, and all those things. And it's come to a realization that if we could minimize the incidence of corruption and corruption-related activities by even 1/3, we could save this country a lot of the money that go waste. And also we could reduce our reliance on borrowing from outside the country. So it is something that we've all over the years embarked on certain journeys and adventures to set up institutions and let me say commissions or committees or offices or desks to be able to fight this canker. It's not been as successful as we expected. There came the issue of the special prosecutor, which we thought that was an innovative step towards reducing this. But you and I were in this country when the special prosecutor came onto national television lamenting, wailing, and gnashing his teeth over the deliberate attempt by the government to frustrate him from achieving his objective and doing his work. I've forgotten the song he sang. You remember the song? Ankwanuma. He sang that song. The state prosecutor himself has said that they've so far had cases of over 492, but they've only been able to start the process of prosecuting 3. So that should tell you the difficulty we've had. We've had so many cases under this particular government where cases have been referred to the police CID, and the president has virtually jumped the ship by clearing and pronouncing those people not guilty before the police could even conclude on their investigations. So it is good that we've had another attempt. Basically what this committee is going to do is to collect petitions, take reports of people who have evidence of corruption or corruption-related activities, and then forward it to possibly the special prosecutor or any other agency that the president would deem fit to be able to handle these cases, prepare dockets, and then prosecute. There are other issues where virtually you do not need the, it's so clear. For example, if somebody has willfully taken over a government land or government property, that one you don't need further. It's just a matter of finding out from the lands department whether the person has the right to occupy that property or not. They could just make a reference to, and then action will be taken on those patients. So I think this particular committee is only to help in our attempt to make sure that we identify corrupt practices, incidents of corruption, incidents of looting, so that we will be able to use the existing institutions and structures to prosecute them. Because some of the reasons that state institutions like the special prosecutor have cited for laxity in their work is the case of lack of evidence and people sometimes not coming forward to give evidence when they are invited. You remember this case of members of parliament?
Double salary?
No, not the issue of double salary. The issue of a businessman bribing.
Yes.
Later on, when the special prosecutor invited members of parliament, they were reluctant to give evidence, and that killed the case. The Attorney General came out and said there was no evidence because the people could not. This office could go further to get those evidence and those reports and make sure it helps the state institution, the appropriate office to be able to put the facts and the evidence correct and present and prosecute in court. So in short, they are like a fact-finding group, report-taking group to help in it. And when you look at the background, the caliber of people who have been put together, you and I appreciate the work Honorable Kujita Blackwell has done so far in intercepting cases like this and all those things. Kofi Boakye is a known, experienced police officer. Martin Kpebu has been anti-corruption campaigner. Raymond Archer, a very staunch, experienced investigative journalist. And we have Mr. Domelevo, who all of us agree that he's one of the best auditor generals we've had, who was virtually hounded off office. So they are a group of experienced people who have an appetite to look for what is wrong and let the public know what they have.
Very well. Great. Mr. Domelevo is joined us, but before that, I want to go back to the Recollation Center, take a few minutes from there, and then come back, hear Domelevo, Mr. Domelevo, and then hear Esquire Aban on the matters. Charles, good morning once again. What is happening there? Well, the recollation for Kokarko Central started?
Good morning, Salam. So what is happening is that currently we've all been ushered out of the coalition center. I told you that we're leaving one room to the other where 7 constituencies were being collated. The police have just ushered us all out of the place. The NDC have raised certain objections to some of the happenings in that room. I have here with me the Director of Elections for Greater Accra for the NDC, Mr. Joshua Labi. Thank you for agreeing to speak to us. I saw Baba Sadiq, your candidate for Okankwe Central, quite agitated. What exactly is going on?
All right, so we were told that the Deputy Returning Officer is stepping in for the Returning Officer. Last week, the last time we were here, there was a perfect understanding. Later on, the MPP side and then the EC debunked whatever we agreed on. So we said, okay, if he has been appointed, then we want to see a copy of the letter. It's been shown to me on phone. I said I want a copy so that we can proceed. We don't want a situation where we proceed and we are told that the gentleman is not supposed to be the one to do the collation. And so we are asking for an official letter and then we proceed.
You don't trust the soft copy you've been given?
It's not about trust. You have been asked to come outside. Have you asked yourself why? I mean, this is a public event. Why have you been asked to come outside? I don't have to say everything.
So, I mean, are you insinuating that there is something illegal going on in the room, for which reason we've been asked to move out?
It is not us thinking. It is the actions and inactions of the EC. We spotted some of them coming out of Afenyo Makin's car today. It's something. Maybe they don't know what their mandate is about and how sensitive it is. But we are saying that it is not up to us to mistrust you. It is your actions that will, if we already mistrust you, it will intensify the mistrust. And if there is none there, you are going to create that mistrust. And so it is not about we not trusting the EC. It is the EC that is carrying itself in a manner that we cannot, just watch. We just have to be careful in terms of everything.
So until you get a hard copy of the appointment, the letter appointing the Deputy Returning Officer, you will not allow the process to continue?
It's not about we allowing. We are demanding. If they want to carry out, they can. But I'm saying that we are asking them to do the right thing. If the guy is stepping in for the returning officer, because there is nowhere in our CI 127 that a deputy returning officer is supposed to declare an election. It is a returning officer. And so we don't want a situation where we'll come back here again tomorrow. That is why we are asking the right thing to be done. If he's been appointed this morning, what did they know before they appointed him this morning? We don't know. They should just give us a copy of the letter, and then everybody is fine. We are just safeguarding our interest, and then the numerous Ghanaians who are sitting on tenterhooks. We want these things to be done and over with.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alabi. I'm sure you'd want to go back there and observe the processes. So, Solom, like I said, we've all just been asked to move out of the collation center. The camera will just pan and show you what's happening there. So you see the majority leader, Afenyo Marking, the member of parliament for Ensawam Aduadri, the Honorable Anodompre, also there. So in there are 7 constituencies where collation is currently ongoing. Ensawam Aduadri, Dom Kwabenya, Okaikwe Central, Ahafwano North, Ahafwano South, West, and some other constituencies. The police gave us no reason why they were asking us to leave the premises, but that's just what that's just what's been done to us. So we're currently all stationed outside the collation center here at the regional office of the Electoral Commission. Earlier, Obuasi East was recollated and declared in favor of the NPP's candidate. His name is Patrick Boachi Yadom. After the recollation, he polled 18,558. The NDC's Samuel Abuaje, who had been declared winner at the constituency level, polled 18,539, and another AJ Osu FRA polled 424. So that is the only constituency out of the 9 that has successfully been recollated and redeclared. There were also issues with the Tema Central seat, where the NDC's reps or the NDC's candidates, E.B. Bright, and the Member of Parliament for South, Nelson Roxon Dafiameko, raised questions about the Metro Director of the Electoral Commission wanting to take charge of the collation process instead of the returning officer. And we did speak to the returning officer for that constituency, who told us that he could only continue with the process if the NDC were available at the table, because E.B. Bright and Dafiameko had left the process. They had abandoned the process because of some disagreements. And the returning officer said no, he wasn't going to go on with the recollation until there's a compromise between the parties on the way forward, because he fears for his life and that of his family. We'll just try and find... Hello, sir. So you're saying that we can't go back in there? They will allow us in, but not presently. All right, Salam. So some of the police officers, telling us that they would allow us into the building later, but right now, they won't allow us in this very collation center. So we'll go to the other room where the collation for Tema Central was halted, and see for ourselves if the process has successfully restarted. Salam.
So much, Charles Osukumi. Let's know how things play out there. Thanks so much, and take care of yourself well whilst you're there. This is the Election Bureau, where all relevant information regarding election 2024 is provided. All right, let's get back to our discussion. Honorable Mr. Domelevu, Daniel Domelevu, former Auditor General and a member of the Oral Committee, is joining us and to take his view on a few matters. Hello, good morning, sir. Should I say congratulations for being appointed onto the Oral Committee. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, my brother. I hope all is well.
By God's grace, we are good. I hope you are well too.
Yes, I am also fine.
All right. So congrats. I don't know whether to say congrats or not, but so congrats, surely. Congrats for being appointed onto this. Perhaps your work is being recognized, and the people of Ghana, some are happy that you are on this. What is the mandate of the committee?
Thank you very much. From my reading, according to the letter that was issued to us, we are mandated or required to keep or collect data on all abuses of public resources or state funds and resources and collect this information from the public. So more or less, we are just required to gather data. As the president-elect said, that several people are volunteering data and information, and it is difficult to keep track of all that. So he set up this committee to be able to gather this data so that when he is sworn into office, then this data can easily be channeled to the appropriate corteses or cortes where it should go.
I see. So don't you feel that this job you've been given duplicates the functions or jobs of other state institutions? Why can't I walk to the CID or to the OSP or somewhere and give them information if indeed I have anything? Why must I look for oral committee before I present that to them? Why can't we rather encourage the public to go to the appropriate quarters, existing institutions, and present those information to them if indeed we have them?
First and foremost, nothing stops any Ghanaian from approaching any of the anti-corruption agencies and say, I have this information for you. Nothing stops them at all. And let me also say that no public sector officer or public office holder will obey instructions or directives from the president-elect or incoming president until he takes over or he's sworn into office. That is the reason why the information which the public are not happy giving it to the institutions at the moment, but they are happy giving to him. He has set up our committee to collect this information. But before we proceed, I'll be very grateful if my name can be corrected.
Very well. I see that, Domolovo. It's been corrected. The E must come. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes,
my producer will correct it right away.
Thank you.
All right, sure. So, how far back? What's the scope? How far back can you go? So, is it just limited to this present administration, or if I have something dating back to the Rawlings era or Kufuor era, or even the previous Mahama era, I could still come and it will form part of what Oral is supposed to be doing?
Yes. If you look at the directives or the instruction given by the office of the president, no time limit was given. But then when you collect data, after analyzing the data, you may have to decide the time frame within which you want to operate. Being a former Auditor General, I must assure you that I've received several of that data in the past. And at times it goes back even prior to 1993, before even Rawlings' time or etc. And you ask yourself, do you have the resources and will you get the evidence to support what the investigation you want to do? So you may have to cut off. If you notice, I issued several reports, special audit reports, and normally I give a time frame of something like 6 to 8 years. Because you see, for us, crime does not rot, and it is true. It is very difficult to get sufficient evidence to prosecute some of the cases. And some of them also may even be statute limited if it is actually not a crime. There's a statute of limitation if it is not a crime. So it is for the office holder who may now have to look at the data collected and say, look, if I am going to 1992, 1995, or 2000, etc., I may be wasting my effort because, mind you, some of those complaints that you may be receiving fresh might have been investigated and dealt with. You may finish the investigation only to be told that, but this case has gone to the court and tried. So you are only wasting time. And that may also involve use of public resources unjustifiably. So it is when data is collected, then you analyze the data and you determine what time frame and what type of data. In fact, based upon materiality, you may not even investigate all the matters that come. I'm not saying our committee has that mandate. No, we don't have investigative mandate. But I'm saying when the data is given finally to the appropriate authorities, they may have to decide how far they would like to go.
So how long will this committee be working? How long will you stay in office?
Again, we were not given any time limit. So from the letter I read, I was looking for it. I didn't find any. I think in the wisdom of the president-elect, we may have to continue working to the point where we have no data available anymore. So if by the end of next week, no data or information is coming, we just put what we have together and give to him or ask him where or who should we give this data to. And I think that brings our committee's mandate to an end.
I see. So far, how is the response like? How are Ghanaians responding to the contact details you've put out to be contacted?
It's overwhelming. To be honest with you, it's overwhelming. Said that yesterday, you know, I'm not in the country. So I am connecting virtually and attending the meetings virtually. Yesterday, we were in the meeting up to 9 o'clock here, which is about 6 p.m. Ghana time. Can you imagine? So the Ghanaians and a lot of people have to be begged to come back maybe on Monday. So Ghanaians are ready to volunteer information. And on that note, too, thank you very much for correcting my name. It's now my name.
Great, 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 great. I see. So where do we go from here? So what, you just collate it or you sift through? What will you do? Will you sift through the information you get, or you just collate it, it just acts as a conveyor belt and take it to the appropriate quarters? What must you do? Will you look at it to see if some, you know, will pass muster, or you just have to transfer the information to the appointing authority?
Since the information, our mandate has to do with collecting data relating to corruption and corruption-related issues, we will have to look at the data, not to pass on to the president or whoever he says we should give the information to, data which is resulting from differences between two people. Somebody wants to settle his personal scores and brings it up. I don't think we can just do it garbage in, garbage out. We may have to sift through and see, is this data actually bordering on corruption? And of course, determine also to recommend maybe to the president or whoever he directs to take over from us, that these issues, I think, this is my suggestion, not the suggestion of the team, which I think the team may buy. We may have to select or classify the data so that we can provide recommendation to say, we think these issues require further investigation or audit from the Auditor General, because we think it falls within the mandate of the Auditor General. So after his audit, we think a better picture may come out, then they can take over from there. Because most of the offenses that I've seen so far are procurement related. And if it is procurement related, then it means that the expenditures were incurred contrary to law. And from my considered opinion, that will be violation of the law. And Article 187(7)(b) provides that the Auditor General can disallow and surcharge. So it may not require an investigation for prosecution before action can be taken. So I think, even though it is not written in our terms of reference, we will do justice if we classify this data and say, well, we received so much data, 10% of it has to do with just concern. It has no value. So please, you may wish to disregard them, but here they are. If you want to look at them, you can look at them. Then we say maybe the remaining 90%, we think half of it may have to go for audit, and maybe the remaining half may have to go to the OSP or YOCO or whoever is the appropriate authority.
I see. Thanks so much. We are grateful for your time. But will you come to Ghana anytime soon to join your colleagues in person to do the work, or you prefer being part of it virtually?
I will come to Ghana immediately the need arises. So far, they have not requested that I be present physically.
I see. All right. Thank you so much for making time to speak to us this morning. We are so grateful. Thanks so much. Daniel Domelevo, former Auditor General, also a member of the oral team operation, recover all the loot that the President-elect promised to do, and that's what they've started. They've set up a preparatory team to look at all of that. Honorable Aban is here, but we understand that the Honorable Anodon Pre, Member of Parliament for Samedureji, has been declared winner by the recollation system. Let's quickly go to the Electoral Commission, take a few comments from there, and then come back to Honorable Aban. Hello, Charles. Hello, Charles. Okay, so my colleague Charles is not ready. I'll take Honorable Aban in the meantime whilst we get that right now. All right, Honorable, so you've heard from Domelevo. I'm sure you've heard from other people on the committee as well. This should be a good one. I mean, trying to recover so-called loot by people given the opportunity to serve in government. You're thinking about it.
Thank you very much. Anything that borders on corruption, okay, I am all for the fight against corruption, because that's actually the bane of this country. We are not developing because of that, right? But I think it's a bigger topic than the few minutes that we have, right? Because it goes even up to the small person in Ghana, right? But if you are looking at grand corruption, for me, I think that the president-elect must channel his energies now into resolving problems. He must be looking for those who will be forming his cabinet than thus. Because from the discussion that you had with Mr. Domelevo, everything they are going to do would be to just gather data and give to the existing state institutions, okay? But it has to do with our mindset, because we have had duplications of these many committees, OSP, all that. And we have still not been able to rid ourselves of corruption. So it means that we must do something extra or something else than just creating institutions. So for me, I think that this is just to ginger the base of the Indies, because it was a campaign promise and they want to quickly do it for them to see that, yes, we want to fight corruption. But this window dressing, I'm being honest with you.
But if you about right? 400, I mean, is that not applications, but 400
we live to see what it will be. And you see, the impression or the assumption that people who were in the previous government may have stolen some state, resources or assets, okay, it's not good enough. For me, we should look at them as individuals, because from 2016 or 2017 to 2021, I was in Parliament. From 2019 to 2021, I was
Deputy Health, Deputy
part of government. And I say on radio, I say on TV, you would not see me as having taken one city that belongs to the state, right?
You're an individual.
So, yes, that's what I'm saying. That take them as individuals.
But that's
we
exactly
all
what
get associated with it as though we are all thieves.
No, but the person is in government. The person is in government,
right? As though we are all thieves. And I'm telling you, I'm not a paragon of virtues. But if we are all conducting ourselves the way I did, this country will move forward.
I also did the same.
Right? So let us do things right, instead of creating the impression that, let's go for it. And all
Alex,
that.
you and I will also agree that some people have misconducted themselves,
including all political class in NPP and DC.
Haven't we since Adapa?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That, of course, your guess must be maybe as good as mine. But the point is that the threshold of proof we require.
Go to cantonments.
Okay.
Go to Rilwe. Go and see how they are just looting government lands.
No, but the point is, did they acquire it properly? There's a process. So if they went through the process.
Salam, don't go there. Here, I would even want to take it from
look
you.
At the process.
I would not.
Due process.
I would take it from him.
Due process.
Look, this issue of state capture is not only a function under MPP. We must look at it that the political class generally is failing the country.
Yes.
Both NDC, both MPP. I'm sorry to give this analogy, and with all due respect to our listeners and our viewers, it is not to disparage women, but it's as though Ghana is a very beautiful, hapless and helpless lady lying supine, okay, and naked. And then the political class, especially the dominant ones, NDC, MPP, being the men who want to go and have a taste of this woman. And they just fight. When Ghana gets angry with one, you step out, and then the other one comes to do the same thing. The time has come for us to think that we go in there with two things: the competence to do the work and the right frame of mind and heart to serve the country. That's how we go for it.
But it's a popularity contest, and once a popularity contest, you don't have all these elements coming together. You choose the one who is
and that's why I'm saying that it will come up to the smallest person in the country. Why would anybody sit somewhere and say that when they have done that, they expect you to go? I mean, the whole process of electing our leaders is steeped in corruption. Why do you think that you sow corruption and go and reap honest men at the top? We cannot get it. And so that's why I'm saying that we have done this, duplicated these institutions many times, and we are not seeing results. Let's think about the heart with which we go into public office.
But the perception being created by the institution of this committee may help the fight, don't you think so? Because perception matters. Now, we understand about 500 entries or 500 different documents.
I can send you some.
I'll be happy to read them. Have been submitted to the committee. People will start being careful.
Yes, but I'm saying that, you see, it's because certain questions are not asked. We are not dealing with issues of personality and even wealth audit, right? Where you were and where you have become, you quickly have become.
Well, I think all of that is part.
Right? And in the final analysis, we'll go to
OSP.
OSP needs some quality of evidence.
Not only OSP.
Yoko
law is there. Yoko law is even more strangulating than the OSP.
You need certain quality of evidence, okay? And the standard of it being so high that in the final analysis, before we realize, we may not be able to even retrieve anything. And the question is, what are we also going to do with the people who are going into government? Are we going to have the same checks on them?
Your mama said the same thing. I said that.
We always hear that from the presidents. We always hear that from
my
the
president is not going to be a clearing agent like your president.
No, for me,
it's
a number
not even
my president. Everybody's president.
A number of things have been mentioned.
Heard it from them.
The collapse for the indigenous banks. I'm looking at the NDC's 120 days pledge. Collapse for the indigenous Ghanaian banks.
Let me give you one.
Illegal printing of money, $58 million national cathedral scandal, illegal and inflated single source contracts.
Let me give you something that me.
So that's your conclusion.
As I said, yes. For example, the Minister for Finance came to Parliament, told all of us that they've spent close to 35 billion in the banking sector cleanup. Something that they said they were going to initiate, the whole banking cleanup sector was going to cost 9 billion.
9 billion.
It went to 35 billion. As we are talking today, I had the privilege of sitting in a committee with Joe Gatti. And from our proceedings, we will end up spending close to about 45 billion.
On the banking crisis?
Yes.
Oh.
You see,
and many more people have not been paid.
You know, speaking as a banker,
wow.
I hope you know. I hope you know.
I know you taught banking law.
Yes. We have to have what you call a safe and sound situation of the banks. The banks were floundering and they would have crashed. We should.
You are justifying the amount of money spent on them?
Not necessarily the amount of money spent on it.
But the reforms.
Okay. The need for the reforms and how we decided to take political advantage of it. Okay? That is not good. Because if nobody took any step, those banks would have collapsed anyway. Because the quality of their assets, okay, both financial and even non-financial,
were bad.
And these are some of the things
but
that
the counter-argument is that was why in 2016 they passed the banking and deposit.
But they gave the money and they still went to squander it.
Yeah, so in the US and other jurisdictions,
Right.
what they did was that they restructure the directorship and the management
And
composition
keep the
of
banks.
And keep the banks.
So deal with the individuals,
Yes.
keep the banks, keep jobs, and keep deposits.
Yes.
So that you deal with the individual, but you don't collapse it and leave people unemployed. And now see how much we've sunk in there. And he's saying we will now continue to sink till our 45 billion of money we don't have.
Good. So that's a good solution. But taking advantage of it as though good banks, no. As
But
though
that's
the
politics.
banks are, yes, that's what I'm saying. That if we try to play politics with everything, especially the financial sector.
Very well. I need to go.
Alex, but you see,
I need to go.
when issue about Republic, for example,
Heritage Bank.
Heritage Bank comes in, it raises question.
I see. I need to go. Guys, so that's how we conclude today's edition of the program. We've been to the Electoral Commission and back. My guest, Nilate Van der Poel, MP Odododio, Honorable Alex Aban, former MP, Gomoa West. Yes, that's true. So I think I must sever it. You soon to be former MP for Odododio. And we also spoke to Fred Tete of the EC and Daniel Domelevo, former Auditor General, member of the Oral team. My name is Selam Adonu. Have a good afternoon.